32 News at 4.
Now at 4, the Bears reflecting today after their incredible season comes to an end.
Tensions remain high in Minnesota. The DOJ now looking into a viral confrontation between protesters and a pastor.
Did the wind slap you in the face today, too? This cold has an attitude, and today isn't the worst of it. Good to have you with us. I'm Terrence Lee.
And I'm Sylvia Perez. Let's, of course, start with the weather because it is cold out there.
Oh, yeah. So, yes, it's sunny, but don't fall for that. Chief Meteorologist Emily Walls has our first check of the forecast. Emily, this cold is serious.
Yeah, that's right. So we've been dealing with dangerously cold conditions all day long. We did have that cold weather advisory that went into effect at 3 a.m., lasted until noon, and that was for wind chills as low as 20 to 25 degrees below zero. So it's not quite that extreme out there right now, but it's still very, very cold, extremely unpleasant if you have to be out and about. We have temperatures that are currently sitting only in the single digits for most areas, although we have managed to make it into the double digits in places like LaSalle, same thing in Morris, 11 in Kankakee, 9 in Rensselaer. Again, that is one of our warmer spots. Same thing in Gary at 9 degrees, but at O'Hare it's only 6 degrees, 4 in Waukegan, 4 in Woodstock, and 6 degrees at the Chicago lakefront. Now, on top of the very cold conditions, this is a look at the winds. So these are your consistent wind speeds. Sustained winds right now are right around 15 to 20 miles per hour for most areas. Occasionally, we're seeing winds gusting to around 25, close to 30 miles per hour. So that's taking a really big toll when it comes to the wind chill temperatures. Right now, it's feeling like 5 to 15 degrees below zero. And again, it's been a beautiful sunny day, but it really didn't help to warm us up all that much. Now, today's going to be the coldest day that we see for at least a few days. But then going into this upcoming weekend, believe it or not, we could be looking at temperatures that are going to be even colder. So the 5-day forecast around here, we're going to be in the lower 20s tomorrow. It's almost going to feel like a little mini heat wave going into Wednesday with a high of 30, which, by the way, is very seasonable for this time of the year. Back down to about 20 on Thursday, but Friday and Saturday, we're looking at high temperatures only in the single digits. Actual air temps at night dropping well below zero, and we're likely looking at the entire weekend being spent with sub-zero wind chills.
Ooh,
back to you.
Friday is tripping because that's slipping. I'm done.
I was going to say, I'm going to let him keep going to see what else he can come up with.
What else you got?
Okay, thanks for that, Emily. And as you heard Emily say, it is dangerously cold out there today and will be for the rest of the week. But what if your heat goes out?
Yeah, Brett McGanty is live in Bucktown. Brett, this is coming at a bad time for some people.
We were talking about the fluctuating temperatures. I have my little thermometer that you can get at pretty much any department store. It's now measuring 9 degrees. Just a few minutes ago, it was at -10, but it just shows you how severe the weather conditions are. So we are outside the crib here in Bucktown. This is a overnight shelter for any young adults 18 to 24. They are expecting to be at capacity today, but it just shows you how severe the weather can get, especially when things break down for you. So it could be a busy night for any kind of warming shelter or overnight shelter. It's also a busy time for anyone in the HVAC business. So I spoke with Ray Reyes earlier today, who was with Under the Sun Heating and Cooling. He told me they were just getting dozens of calls today from families and businesses who have no heat. So he took us along on one of those jobs this afternoon at a car detailing shop. And Reyes said the common problem is the flame sensor not working properly. It can get dirty or it just needs to be replaced entirely because of overuse. And he says it's a common problem around this time of year when the temperatures are dropping well below freezing, and he explained why.
It's 0 or single-digit degrees outside, and the furnace is trying to keep up with the demand from the outside, right? So, for example, we get air draft through the windows, air draft through the doors, and that is calling for our heat to run nonstop.
You just want to be warm. It always breaks down when we need it, right? So because there's such high demand, Reyes told me they've had to turn people down for that same-day service. He said it's really just coming down on a first-come, first-come service. So they are booked for the next 4 days here. So we're outside of this youth warming shelter. It opens around 8 o'clock tonight, and I just checked the Streetlight Chicago website. It says that they have one bed available, so it really just goes to show you how much this place is going to be in demand today as those temperatures continue to drop once the sun goes down. We're live in Bucktown tonight. Brett Bagansky, Fox Chicago.
All right, Brett, and I think the wind wants you to put your hood on your head at this point. I think it's trying to send you a message. Thanks, man. All right, the Bears lost to the Rams last night. Still stings.
It certainly does. An incredible season is now over. We heard from the team today just hours after that defeat. Tina joins us with more on that. Oh, so disappointing.
Definitely a magical season here coming to a sudden end. The Bears 2025 season ended with a thrilling 20-17 overtime loss in the divisional round at the hands of the Rams, highlighted though by a jaw-dropping late TD from Caleb Williams to force overtime. Despite the painful exit, players still express pride in how far they've come and optimism for the future. Caleb Williams has only played in 2 postseason games, and he has probably thrown the best 2 passes we've ever seen. The 4th and 8 toss to Rome Odunze against Green Bay. Last night, he had that 4th and 4 heave that found Cole Kmet to send the game into overtime. But in OT, Williams and Moore were not on the same page. Some miscommunication there with the route, and Williams picked off for a third time on the night, which the Rams drove down the field to have Harrison Mavis hit the walk-off 42-yard field goal to end the Bears' historic season. Despite the sudden exit, though, Caleb Williams says he's learned to embrace the city of Chicago like his own and believes the future is certainly bright.
That was part of the reason why I said I can do it here, to bring life, to bring joy, to bring excitement, to being a Chicago Bears fan, to be able to cheer for us. So I do take pride in it. It's really cool, honestly, to be able to have those small things like that. Just being able to have the city behind you. And I mean, you know, you lose that game and you're walking out of the game and the fans stand up and cheer and roar. In a tough moment, it goes a long way.
We accomplished a lot. You know, we have ignited a belief from this city into this team that this city believes in this team. I've been saying that Chicago deserves a winner, and just hoping that we gave this city something to be proud about.
What a dream season it's been for the Bears. They finished the year clinching the NFC North for the first time since 2018 with an 11-6 record, and of course picking up their first playoff win in 15 years. Terrence and Sylvia?
Definitely made the city proud. Still making the city proud. Let's shift focus to the offseason. This team will look different next season, right?
Yeah, no doubt there will be change here. From a roster perspective, though, multiple free agents. That includes Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, and Ashawn Wright, Jonathan Owens, Braxton Jones, Theo Benedict, just to name a few. But as for the coaching staff, change will be coming that way as well. The Chiefs today requested permission to talk to running backs coach Eric Bieniemy for their OC job. And according to multiple reports, all signs are pointing towards that reunion becoming official. Terrence and Sylvia?
As long as number 84 doesn't go anywhere. Thank you, Tina. All right, President Trump wants Greenland. You know this by now, but NATO officials are objecting. He is still pushing forward anyway.
Caroline Chively has the latest on what's happening.
European leaders now threatening to bring out a so-called trade bazooka in the fight over Greenland, including blocking the U.S. from accessing some EU markets.
The European Union supports Denmark and the people of Greenland, and we do so united in our resolve.
That's in response to President Trump's calls for tariffs on 8 NATO allies if a deal can't be reached for Denmark to sell Greenland to the U.S. The tariffs would start at 10% on February 1st, then crank up to 25% in June.
The only person who could make a decision this dumb is someone that would actually let a casino go under. And guess who's president right now?
President Trump says the U.S. needs Greenland to counter threats from nearby Russia.
If we don't have it, we have a big hole in national security.
White House officials dismiss claims that Trump's motivation stems from losing the Nobel Peace Prize.
I think it's a complete canard that the president will be doing this because of the Nobel Prize.
But in messages with Norway's prime minister over the weekend, Trump wrote in part, "Considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars plus, I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace." But any potential plan involving the U.S. military is a no-go for most members of Congress.
There certainly is no authority that the president has to use military force to seize territory from a NATO country.
This could all change as early as Tuesday with the potential Supreme Court ruling on whether Trump can impose any emergency tariffs. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox Chicago.
3 Catholic leaders are calling out the Trump administration. One of them, Chicago's Archbishop Blaise Cupich.
Yeah, the clerics are voicing their opposition to recent foreign policy moves in Venezuela, Ukraine, and Greenland. Scott is joining us now with the latest on this. Scott?
Yeah, Terrence and Sylvia, the release of this statement comes just days after President Trump announced that as commander-in-chief, his decisions are constrained only by his own morality. Inspired by Pope Leo XIV, Cupich, along with Cardinal Robert McElroy, Archbishop in Washington, and Cardinal Joseph Tobin, Archbishop in Newark, released a joint statement today questioning the United States' moral role in confronting evil around the world. Cardinal Cupich saying, quote, "As pastors entrusted with the teaching of our people, we cannot stand by while decisions are made that condemn millions to lives trapped permanently at the edge of existence. Pope Leo has given us clear direction, and we must apply his teachings to the conduct of our nation and its leaders." Today's statement is considered a framing of Pope Leo's vision for America's future diplomacy when dealing with foreign countries. So far, there has been no response to today's statement from the White House. Terrence?
Scott, President Trump is also going back and forth with Iran's leaders now. This weekend, he said it's time for new leadership in Iran. That's a quote. Context for that, there was a deadly crackdown on some protests where they cut the internet and phones for many. Iran's president responded with a new warning, too. He says any attack on the supreme leader means war. Meanwhile, the supreme leader is blaming Trump for all of it. Some Republicans in Congress want Trump to take advantage of this.
I think the U.S. should be taking every step possible to end this regime. The Ayatollah Khamenei hates America.
Worse than domestic criminals are international criminals, and they will not be spared either. This matter must be pursued and investigated.
Back to those protests, Iranian leaders say at least 5,000 people died, but the real number is probably way higher.
Chicago police are looking for a woman who assaulted and then robbed a passenger on a CTA Red Line train. CPD releasing this photo of the suspect. Police say 2 weeks ago she approached a passenger on the train at Monroe and aggressively battered her. They say the suspect then took the victim's property and ran off. If you have any information about who she is or where she might be, you are asked to contact CPD. And the police are also looking for a missing man who hasn't been contacted in decades. This is Ryszard Potapok. Investigators say the last time his family in Poland spoke to him was through letters in 1994. They say he recently visited the 3700 block of West Diversey Avenue. Anyone with information should contact Area 1 detectives.
On MLK Day, Rainbow Push held its annual breakfast and used Dr. King's words to talk about policy happening now. Civil rights, immigration, and affordability stayed front and center. Hundreds gathered downtown. The theme was building a beloved community. Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. missed the event for the first time in 36 years, but his family said he is doing well after some recent health issues. Speakers talked about deportation, civil rights protections, and food assistance. Dr. King's words came through children and teens still carrying his message today.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Now the war is not over, victory isn't won, but we'll fight on to the finish, and then when it's all done, we'll cry glory, oh glory.
Leaders then spoke about what they say is slipping right now. Mayor Brandon Johnson said Dr. King's ideas belong in law. Here's Yusuf Jackson and then the mayor.
We've seen civil rights protections twisted to defend the privileged instead of righting injustice. Corporations, universities, schools, and museums have been pressured to halt efforts at opening doors of opportunity for all. I'm doing my level best not to call his name.
If militarism and poverty and racism can be eradicated, it's going to require everyone in this room to put the words into action.
Mayor Johnson also used the breakfast to push his call to tax the rich. He said millionaires, billionaires, and large corporations should pay more to fund services and protect working families.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s daughter says her father's message still rings true today. Bernice King says her father's legacy stands in opposition to many of the actions taken by the Trump administration. She says the holiday and her father's legacy serve as reminders of hope and the ability to challenge injustice and inhumanity.
When we see what's happening right now in our communities with ICE agents and the way in which they are dealing with people, very disturbing, very troubling. I dare say that the very nonviolence that people always want to suggest that activists lean into, we need ICE agents to lean into it. We need law enforcement to lean into it.
Bernice King is encouraging people to participate in service projects to foster connections. She is also encouraging people to reflect on what they can do to help make the world a better place.
There's a lot more coming up on this digital edition of Fox 32 News at 4.
A major pileup in Michigan, dozens of semis slamming into each other.
We'll talk about how the weather played a role. Plus, a few months back, the Trump administration told pregnant women to stop taking Tylenol. Now there's a new study saying they're wrong. We'll break it down.
And a key vote could bring one of the world's biggest retailers to Orland Park. We'll let you know what that is when we come back. Welcome back. It's 4:18. There's a vote tonight in the southwest suburbs. Amazon might be coming to Orland Park, not a warehouse, but an actual store.
Village leaders are set to decide today if the plan gets the go ahead. Leslie Moreno is live with how people feel about this. Leslie?
Hey guys, good evening. Yeah, there's a mix of emotions on this tonight. Some say it could bring hundreds of jobs and new investments to the area. Others, however, say it could hurt local businesses and cause major traffic jams. Amazon wants to build a large retail store near 159th Street and LaGrange Road on land that's currently vacant. The company says this would be a traditional shopping experience with groceries and general merchandise, not a distribution center. The Plan Commission reviewed the proposal and voted to recommend approval, clearing the way for tonight's decision by the Village Board. If the board votes yes tonight, Amazon can move closer to breaking ground later this year. Village officials say the development could bring hundreds of jobs and add to Orland Park's reputation. Some residents, however, question whether the area can handle the added congestion and how a store this size could affect existing retailers nearby. If approved, construction could start as early as this April. Again, that meeting is scheduled for tonight at 5:30. We will let you know what they decide coming up tonight at 9. We'll toss it back to you guys.
All right, let's get to the latest on tensions in Minnesota. The Pentagon has put 1,500 active duty soldiers on standby for a possible deployment just in case the president invokes the Insurrection Act.
And this is in response to ongoing protests. Caroline Shively has more.
Demonstrations moving from the streets to the pews in Minnesota, with a group of protesters disrupting the St. Paul church service on Sunday because of a pastor's possible connection to ICE. Now the Justice Department says its Civil Rights Division is investigating.
These are worshipers who are practicing their First Amendment rights to worship.
While the DOJ is looking into the church incident, it's not investigating the ICE officer who shot Renee Good on January 7th.
We don't just go out and investigate. Every time an officer is forced to defend himself against somebody or putting his life in danger.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says her department has already reviewed the ICE officer's actions.
The protocol and the advice and the guidance within that handbook and within our policies is being followed exactly like it has been for years.
With protests ongoing around Minneapolis, the Pentagon has given up to 1,500 soldiers prepare to deploy orders should things continue to escalate.
This act was clearly designed to intimidate the people of Minneapolis, and here's the thing. We're not going to be intimidated.
Some congressional Democrats are now threatening to oppose Homeland Security funding over ICE agents' tactics.
What is undeniable is that ICE is a rogue agency that is terrorizing our communities.
Last week, President Trump threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act and call in active duty troops, but has since said he doesn't see a reason to use it right now. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox Chicago.
Well, several months after the White House said it was unsafe for pregnant women to take Tylenol during pregnancy, a new study is disproving that claim. The research was published in the Lancet Obstetrics and Gynecology. It found there was no link between taking acetaminophen, the active ingredient in Tylenol, and intellectual disabilities in children, including autism and ADHD. Last September, President Trump and Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced that women should avoid taking Tylenol during pregnancy due to what they described as a link to autism. Medical experts say the drug is the safest pain reliever for expecting moms.
A woman in Florida is in trouble. Police say she pretended to be the family of a Camp Mystic flood victim to scam donations. They say Madeline White used GoFundMe and SpotMe to take money that was meant for Chloe Childress's family. The 19-year-old camp counselor died in that July 4th flood, along with 26 others. White is now facing extradition to Texas and 2 felony charges for online impersonation.
Get a job. Go find a job. There's a lot of resources, both I know here in Harris County and in Florida, that you can get if you need some assistance. But the last thing that you should ever even contemplate is doing something connected to such a tragedy like this. I made a promise and a commitment to people, especially to the Childress family, that we would bring this person to justice. So I didn't care if she lived in Florida or lived out of the country. We were going to get her. And as promised, we did. We contacted our friends and the U.S. Marshals, Gulf Coast Violent Offenders Task Force. In Florida, they picked her up. They actually had to kick in her door. She wasn't cooperative, and actually brought her to jail.
Camp Mystic will reopen this summer with new safety features like flood monitoring and emergency systems as well.
A major loss for the fashion world. Iconic Italian designer Valentino has died. His foundation announced he died at his home in Rome at the age of 93. Valentino was adored by many members of the elite from around the globe, from royals to first ladies to movie stars. Throughout his decades-long career, Valentino became the king of the red carpet A-listers would go to him for their lavish gown needs at awards and ceremonies. He worked under designers before founding his own house in 1959. Valentino sold the label to an Italian holding company for an estimated $300 million in 1998. His funeral will be held in Rome on Friday.
A snow squall in Zeeland, that's southwest of Grand Rapids, caused a whiteout that set off this huge pileup. This happened this morning. Michigan State Police say 30 to 40 semi-trucks were involved. A bunch of drivers got hurt, but luckily no one's hurt bad enough to be life-threatening. They even brought in some school buses to help get stranded drivers out of there. And we aren't the only ones seeing and feeling the effects of this cold.
That's right. Katie Byrne has more on the dangerous conditions that people are facing on the East Coast.
A massive winter storm pummeling the eastern U.S. on Sunday, dropping as much as half a foot of snow in some places.
It's beautiful. It's just a beautiful sight to see. This is more than enough for me.
Here in Massachusetts, crews were out early Monday morning, clearing and treating the roads. With temperatures plunging into the 20s, much of what was left on the ground has frozen over, leading to slippery conditions on streets and sidewalks.
Very slippery. Even with the four-wheel drive, nothing goes through anything.
The snow also dusted neighborhoods as far south as Florida and Georgia, forcing many to take it slow as they traveled over the busy holiday weekend.
Just be careful. Everybody be careful and drive slow. We ain't used to snow and ice on the roads down here, but down here we like getting that playing in it.
In the skies, more than 4,100 flights were delayed and hundreds of others canceled on Sunday. With the storm over, millions of people across the country are now facing bitter cold temperatures to start the week. In the Midwest, forecasters say wind chills could fall as low as 35 degrees below zero and freeze snow into dangerous sheets of ice.
It's brutal out here. It was real simple. A couple of black ice, a couple of people spin outs. Right. But I took it slow.
Forecasters say temperatures will rebound by the middle of the week before potentially more snow this weekend. In Boston, Katie Byrne, Fox Weather.
All right, take a live look outside at the Bean where this cold has some audacity.
It does, and that's why normally at this time we see a lot more people out there. But those, look at the few and the brave that are out there.
Yeah, there was still more troopers out there than I thought there would be. Yes, it's very brutal out there today. And you wouldn't know it by looking at the high temperatures because technically these numbers, they were set at midnight and then we've been dropping ever since. So our temperatures, of course, during the daytime have been much colder. Many of us only in the single digits, and it feels so much colder than that because of the winds. So right now we have westerly winds for a lot of us that are still gusting over 20 to 25 miles per hour. So that's going to take your temperatures that are sitting in the single digits for a lot of us and make it feel more like 5 to 15 degrees below zero. We have a wind chill temperature right now of 12 below at O'Hare. Feels like 9 below in Gary, same thing, about 12 below at the Chicago lakefront, 8 below in Rensselaer, 5 below in Joliet, and feeling like 15 degrees below zero in DeKalb. Here's where we're headed. So the next couple of days, slightly warmer. We're going to be in the lower 20s on Tuesday, near 30 on Wednesday, which, by the way, is considered to be average for this time of the year. For this time of January, your average is 31. We're going to be back down to about 20 on Thursday. Colder air is going to filter in late this week. So then Friday and Saturday, we're expected to be only in the single digits, and wind chill temperatures for the entire upcoming weekend likely going to be below zero. And here's a look at the temperature outlook. So this is from the 25th. Taking us through the 29th. So that happens to be Sunday through Thursday of next work week. And you can see that we are almost certainly looking at below average conditions continuing. So this product comes from the Climate Prediction Center. And typically whenever you're seeing the blue shading that's that dark on that map, it's a sure bet. You're going to be seeing some very cold air in place. Futurecast taking us throughout the rest of this evening and tonight, mostly clear skies with the lack of cloud cover. It's going to be cold again. We have low temperatures that are going to be hovering just above zero for a lot of us, but wind chill temperatures again going to be well below zero. We will see a slight improvement with the wind speeds. I think we're going to have wind speeds tonight 5 to 15 miles per hour, so still gusty at times, but it's a lot better. It's a big improvement from what we've been dealing with today. Now, looking forward to Tuesday night into Wednesday, we have yet another storm system that's going to be coming through. That's going to touch off at least the chance for some more snow. I think light accumulations going to be possible near and north of I-80. Again, that's Tuesday night going into Wednesday. Your 7-day forecast tomorrow, 22 sunny skies on Tuesday. Wednesday, some leftover remaining snow showers. Temperatures right around 30. We're back down to 20 on Thursday. By Friday and Saturday, a little bit more in the way of cloud cover, but very, very cold. We have sub-zero low temperatures, high temperatures that are only going to be in the single digits, and your wind chill temperatures, they're not going to climb above zero for the entire weekend. Back to you.
Wow. Okay. Thanks, Emily. Well, with the Bear season now over, the focus is shifting to where they will call home in the future.
Bears Shuts has the latest on where everything stands.
And a 16-year-old high school student receives a letter filled with racism. Hear why he's frustrated with his Northwest Indiana high school.
The Bears may be done for the year, but the stadium talks are just getting started.
Local students following in the lead of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. with a day of service.
And it's probably best if you stay indoors because it is dangerously cold out there.
But first, the quest for a new stadium for the Chicago Bears is now taking center stage.
Indiana has made major moves in the past week to try and get the team across the state lines. Political reporter Paris Schutz catches us up with where everything stands right now. Paris.
Yeah, Terrence and Sylvia, last night, of course, the focus for the Bears management was that thrilling divisional playoff game. Or was it? Take a look at this photo. That's Bears Chairman George McCaskey right there and President Kevin Warren with Illinois House Speaker Chris Welch, all taking in the game last night. Now, interestingly, Welch has stonewalled the Bears' desire for legislation to help them get started on a stadium in Arlington Heights. And last week, Indiana made its move, proposing legislation that would publicly finance and own a Bears stadium in the northwest corner of the Hoosier State. The Bears would avoid any property taxes. They would pay rent to the state of Indiana with the ability to eventually own the stadium when the debt is paid off. And then on Friday, Gary Mayor Eddie Melton unveiled proposals for 3 sites in his town, near the Hard Rock Casino, near the Gary Chicago Airport, and around Miller Beach. The Bears have also been focused on a site next to Wolf Lake, right across the border in Hammond. Arlington Heights, of course, is still in play. The Bears are still looking for legislation that would give them the ability to negotiate future property tax rates with the village. They say they need this certainty to attract investors to help finance the stadium. And they're going to pay taxes and own this stadium outright in Arlington Heights. And they will pay for the entire building, but rely on the state for infrastructure funding. Now, late last week, Arlington Heights Mayor James Tenalia said he's all for giving the Bears the ability to negotiate, and he wants lawmakers to take action now.
These are numbers that are not marketable. They could never finance a project like that. And then if anything were to happen, they could never sell it. There's no buyer for that. So the number has to be tolerable. Just like you would not design your own home or your own office building knowing that your tax bill is going to be out of control, you'll back off and either cancel the project or redesign something smaller. They don't have a choice to redesign something smaller, but they could leave the state.
All right, so here's what to watch for. Indiana's legislative session, it's underway right now and it ends next month. So we could see a proposal and rapid movement in the coming days or weeks. The question is, do Illinois lawmakers feel the heat now? Governor Pritzker and others seem to have moderated their tone in recent weeks at Sylvia. They are about to head to Springfield to start their legislative session as well. So a lot of things could be wrapped up in the coming days and weeks.
All right, thanks, Paris. Chicago sports fans can now move on to baseball.
We still got basketball. All right, the White Sox are getting ready for spring training. Today, the team's equipment truck was loaded up before starting its cross-country drive to Glendale, Arizona. They're carrying about 27,000 pounds of equipment, baseballs, bats, gloves, chewing gum. That seemed odd to add. The team says this moment symbolizes a new beginning for the franchise.
January is the new year, and today is just the first sign that spring training is right around the corner. For White Sox baseball, for spring training, it's just what this means, and the emotion that we feel is like we're getting ready for the season.
Is my mic up? Is it up?
Now.
It's up now. Yeah. Okay.
Start over.
People want to hear me. Pitchers and catchers, they report. Spring training, February 10th. The first regular season game is on March 26th at the rate.
Not too far away, right?
But
March.
far enough.
Yep, okay. Oh,
But we're living in the moment, the cold moment.
And
in this
at
moment.
that.
Look at that.
Isn't that beautiful?
The sun
setting.
Thank you. Almost said rising.
Now, if we just kind of close our eyes and pretend, it almost looks like it could be.
It could be, yes.
Sunset.
Yes.
I lost my imagination when I was 5. Sorry. It's cold.
It is.
It's cold.
Oh, yes. It's very cold out there. And that's not going to change throughout the rest of this evening. Tonight's going to stay cold, but tomorrow we will feel at least some improvements. Your temps right now for a lot of us sitting in the single digits. It's 6 degrees right now at the Chicago lakefront. Same thing at O'Hare, also in Aurora, 9 in Gary, 7 in Merrillville, as well as Chicago Heights, down to 4 in DeKalb, Woodstock, as well as Waukegan. So currently, we still have a gusty breeze, and that's sending wind chill temperatures down to about 10 to 15 degrees below zero for most of the area. Coldest spots at this point look to be DeKalb and Woodstock, feeling like 15 degrees below zero. Futurecast taking us throughout the rest of this evening. Notice how temperatures, they're going to hold pretty steady in the next few hours. So by about 9-10 p.m., a lot of us are still going to be in the single digits above zero. And then going throughout the rest of the overnight, I think we do see at least a couple spots, our usual cold spots, the far west, northwestern sections, possibly dipping a few degrees below the 0 degree mark. But either way, it's going to be cold for all of us. Wind chill temperatures stay below zero tonight, but fortunately, it's not going to be quite as extreme as what we had last night and early today. So we're no longer talking about cold weather advisory criteria, which begins at 20 degrees below zero. With those feels like temperatures tonight, we're looking at wind chills that are going to hover right around 15 below. And then through the day tomorrow, temperatures are going to rise into the low 20s around the early afternoon. And then by the evening, that's when we start to see some snow beginning to build in. So we do have snow in your forecast Tuesday night into Wednesday. 30 degrees for your high on Wednesday before colder air begins to settle back in again. Down to 20 on Thursday. Then Friday and Saturday, we have sub-zero lows and high temperatures only in the single digits. Back to you.
All right. Thanks, Emily. A 16-year-old student in Chesterton, Indiana, says he is exhausted by more than just schoolwork.
He says recently he received a racist letter. Tia is here with more on the situation. Tia?
Yeah, we shouldn't even be talking about this. This is the year 2026, right? But here we are. Julian Blevins, a record-holding track athlete and Special Olympics volunteer, says he's facing racism at Chesterton High School, where he is one of very few black students. Recently, he expressed his frustration online, and the post quickly went viral.
Hey, pretty good, and you?
It's a common response when someone asks, "How are you?" But for Julian Blevins,
I'm tired. I'm so tired.
the 16-year-old Chesterton High School sophomore says the weight has become overwhelming.
I'm ready to give up on this entire thing. Giving up on something I love, so track.
Keep pushing!
Pushing is something the track star knows how to do. It's what the sophomore has been forced to do again and again.
Maybe if I go to a Gary school, more my diverse school, or people of my color, then I wouldn't have to deal with this as much.
But this challenge has become too much to bear. Just days before winter break, Julian received a handwritten letter written by another student at his school.
It went something along the lines of black people don't deserve anything, any present. They're always jumping and stealing gifts. And it talks about how I'm broke.
The letter was the last straw for Julian and his mother, Natalie Cole. It read in part, "You're a broke expletive, chicken-eating, Kool-Aid drinking boy." Instead of a Christmas card before break, this is what he got, and it didn't stop there.
They know where I live, and put my address down there and my Snapchat username.
Cole said this wasn't the first time she warned the school about racism in a predominantly white environment. This is a letter that she had sent in the past. After this current incident, when she felt she wasn't getting real answers, she took her complaint even higher.
So who did you go to? I went to the Office of Civil Rights. You can go on the website and then you file it with the Education Department.
Somebody wrote me a racist letter in your class, whether you knew about it or not.
Julian says after he made a post about the letter that went viral and spoke about it with classmates, his teacher overheard the conversation and took him to the office. According to his suspension notice, Julian was labeled disrespectful. He was suspended for 4 days. The school's principal, Brent Martinson, released a statement. The statement reads in part, CHS administrators began an investigation that included interviews with several students and staff members. Recorded video footage was reviewed and physical evidence was analyzed. CHS school resource officers were consulted throughout for support. As a result of the investigation, appropriate disciplinary consequences were assigned. Any future allegations will be investigated and addressed in alignment with school rules. But Julian says even after the letter, after the suspension, the racism hasn't stopped.
We had a little bathroom break and there was a freshman in there. The freshman referred to me as an N-word. He was like, "What's up, my N-word?" And that shocked me.
I want them to bring in, I don't know if it'll be a cultural awareness person.
There's no reason I should be having to come to school every day and deal with some type of racism.
Well, Chesterton, Indiana, part of the Dunlin School Corporation, is largely white, with 88.9% of residents identifying as white and just 1.5% as black. According to 2024 U.S. Census data, the family hopes their concerns will finally be heard, and they're scheduled to meet with the school district this week. Of course, this is a story, Terrence and Sylvia, that we will continue to follow. Back to you.
All right, Tia, thank you. The Chicago area is celebrating the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. by following his lead and helping others.
Roseanne has more on how local students are taking part in a day of service.
It was a day of celebration marking the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but also a day of service thanks to volunteers from City Year who came to Morgan Park High School to beautify the school. Volunteers were greeted with high fives and high energy. We talked with them about their mission and heard from the very grateful Morgan Park High School principal.
It's really exciting, and there's just so much energy in the building today, so I'm really grateful and appreciative of it. And the part that you don't see here today is our students and families at Morgan Park. Our students are doing a great job this year. So for City Year to highlight and recognize Morgan Park on such an important day like today, I think it's really reflective of what our students and families bring to the table every day. And I'm just really grateful and proud for everything involved.
It is City Year's mission, which is to serve a cause greater than self, and I knew that, when I read through their mission statement, I'm like, serving a cause greater than self is exactly what I want to do. So I applied, and here I am.
The official opening ceremony of today's event showcased the school's talented students and featured remarks from elected officials who were asked why service is so important to them.
Dr. King asked, "What are you doing for others?" And so once I left the military, this was my chance to continue to serve. And I've been here multiple times. I would never miss a City Year if I can avoid missing it. And I'm really looking forward to my day of service. It connects us with our communities and who we are.
Dr. King taught us that everyone can be great because everyone can serve. And that is why, as we celebrate MLK, it's not a day off, it's a day on, it's a day of action. A day to continue to commit ourselves to justice, dignity, and to our moral responsibility one to another, especially our young people.
City Year volunteers serve at area high schools year-round, acting essentially as teaching assistants. They say they're inspired daily. But on this day of collective service, they say they realize the power they have to make positive change. Roseanne Tejas, Fox Chicago.
A law firm has announced the winners of this year's Foley and Lardner MLK Junior Oratory Competition. And we had the honor of having the Chicago winner in our studio. The assignment is in celebration of MLK, and the contest is designed to highlight cultural diversity and talent of local communities. Fifth grader Alana Atwood says she practiced for months. This was her second year trying to get into that competition, so she was surprisingly shocked when she won.
I just did not know what to feel. I was like, oh my God, I really just won.
That's fantastic. How many students were competing?
Well, we made it down to the final 8 is what the finals were, but we had probably over 80 students competed to get through the semifinals. So we had our finals of 8, and Alana really stood out. She did a wonderful job.
Alana's theme was "Change Always Starts with Us." Her speech connected Dr. King's legacy to work that she believes in. Her proud parents also joined us in the studio, and as you can imagine, they were beaming.
Look at those smiles.
Yeah, it was so fun.
And as communities across the country host parades, panels, and service projects marking 40 years of Dr. King, the political climate for some is uneasy.
Yeah, Fox's Madison Scarpino has more on that.
Communities across the country are observing the 40th anniversary of Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
No fear, immigrants are welcome here.
From Brooklyn to Washington, D.C., thousands marching to honor the civil rights leader's life and legacy, as well as family members laying a wreath at his memorial on the National Mall.
Dr. King believed in a beloved community, one rooted in dignity, fairness, and shared humanity.
Leaders arguing even decades after his assassination in 1968, the United States is still battling with some of the same themes of inequality and discrimination.
If Dr. King were alive today, he'd have a lot of work to do.
The message of Dr. King seems more important now than ever. I think he would recognize the progress we've made in our country over decades, but I think he'd be horrified by the moment we're living through, where so many people are seeing their civil rights attacked.
Dr. King's niece revealing what she thinks her uncle might say about the tense situation in Minnesota after a woman was shot and killed by an ICE agent.
I believe he would want us to know that we're just one human race and that we should be kind rather than all of the anarchy and violence. He said that only love can drive out hate. Only faith can drive out fear.
People are also honoring Dr. King's memory by volunteering and attending church services. In Atlanta, Madison Scarpino, Fox 32 Chicago.
A real-life incident that happened in Indiana during the 70s is now hitting the big screen.
Jake is sitting down with one of the actors from the film Dead Man's Wire.
All right, and then we're going to check back in with Emily and talk about the cold. Yay, come on back.
Stay cold.
This is a dead man's wire. If anybody yanks on me or yanks on that gun, he'll die.
Listen, Tony, you've made your point.
I want a formal apology from Meridian Mortgage. I want financial compensation for all the money I would have had, and I want to walk out of here a free man.
In 1977, an Indiana man made national headlines by attaching the president of a mortgage company to a shotgun equipped with a dead man's wire. That story swept the nation and is the subject of a new movie that is now playing in theaters.
It's called Dead Man's Wire and stars actor Bill Skarsgård, who you know from playing Pennywise the Clown in It. This time he's playing a real man.
Yeah, he spoke with Jake Hamilton about the value of the now famous real footage of the incident.
This is a dead man's wire. If anybody yanks on me or yanks on that gun, he'll die.
I'm going to be honest with you. The moment that this movie was over, I did what I think a lot of people are going to do, which is get on YouTube and find the real footage of Tony. I'd love to know, what is the most important thing you figured out about Tony simply by watching that news footage and the press conference, something that maybe you wouldn't have figured out if you didn't have that real footage of him?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, yeah, there's so much source material and archival footage of the real thing, which is a real treasure trove of things to draw on from in terms of creating a character. So doing a scene where you could like look at the real thing and how it unfolded and what he was up to and what he was doing. And it's quite bizarre. I mean, I watched the whole press conference, you know, countless of times, and it's a very bizarre thing. The whole spectacle is so bizarre, and it's kind of hard to imagine, but you have to seeing it live and going, oh, you know, when is he going to pull the trigger, kind of a thing. Because there's moments in the press conferences where it looks like it's almost like he's saying his sort of goodbye speech, you know. It's like, okay, and then like, all right, this is the moment where he's going to pull the trigger. So it has all the recipes for being a sensational moment in network television, that's for sure. Tony Kuritz's lawyer commented on YouTube on the trailer, I think, and he had seen the film, and he said like, this is, yeah, I don't know, this sounds like tooting my own horn, but he was like, Bill captures this. I knew Tony. I represented him, and this is, you know, whatever. This is like, it feels like I'm watching Tony, and I was like, can we verify this? And we did. Like, it's actually his lawyer that represented him, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. That's like sort of the best review you can ask for, I think.
It's so weird not seeing him like in clown makeup, but it's not weird seeing this. Look at this beautiful shot of the sun going down. You know what, son? You are beautiful, but you lied to us today.
Liar, liar.
You lied
oh my
to
gosh.
us today.
That's
it's one of those
gorgeous.
days where people who live in apartments, I'm sure you deal with this a lot, because our AC units are often very close to windows. Yeah. So if the sun is beaming through that window, your AC unit or your unit thinks it's much hotter in your room than it really is. And it was like, I was like, oh, it's 72?
Yeah, and then you
Oh,
go
it's
out
nice
there.
outside. And I'll go outside, I'm like, 7?
Not nice outside. Even though that shot really,
that is so cool.
It looks like the Lion King, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
It's a bit nice. Okay, that's it.
I think
we get 15 seconds.
You're pretty close. I feel like some of those words were a little
I feel like they're like real words,
The
but as a
tone
kid,
was
you think
great,
it's,
though.
Did you see we had the comedian who was doing that every time Kyle?
Yes, you had him on.
We had him on
Chicago yesterday.
He was hilarious.
Every time Kyle Manungai scores or did something,
he would do
I
that.
know what I'm going to be watching during the commercial break there.
There you go.
All right, everyone. It is cold out there.
warm up.
Yes, as you mentioned, Terrence, the sun was very deceiving today. High temperatures technically going in the books in the upper teens to low 20s, but these temperatures were set at midnight, and then we spent the daytime hours only in the single digits for a lot of us. A few locations were able to tag the double digits today. We made it to about 10 degrees earlier on today, and even still, it's 10 degrees in LaSalle, 9 in Morris, 10 in Kankakee. It's 6 at O'Hare, same thing in Aurora, down to 4 degrees currently in DeKalb, same thing in Woodstock as well as Waukegan. Northwest Indiana, about the same, sitting in the mid-single digits for a lot of locations, but it's feeling so much colder because it's still really gusty. We have those westerly winds that for a lot of us are as high as about 15 to 20 miles per hour, occasionally gusting to as high as about 25 to 30 miles per hour. So that's sending wind chill temperatures down to about 5 to 15 degrees below zero. And that's what it's going to feel like through most of tonight. And then tomorrow, some improvements. Low 20s expected for your high on Tuesday, Wednesday near 30. And then we have another cooling trend. In fact, over the weekend, it's going to be even colder than the weekend we just had. We're looking at highs that are only going to be in the single digits during the day. Low temperatures at night going to be dropping several degrees below zero. And your wind chill temperatures next weekend, I don't think that we even crack 0 degrees. So it's staying sub-zero with the feels like temp throughout the entirety of next weekend. Temperature outlook looking beyond the weekend. So this is the 25th through the 29th. That's Sunday through Thursday of next week. Strongly favored to see below average conditions continuing. So we're going into this much colder weather pattern late this week into this upcoming weekend. And then I think it continues right on into next week as well. Futurecast taking us throughout the rest of this evening and tonight. We're planning on skies becoming sunny for tomorrow morning. So it's going to be a nice start to the day, but still very cold, waking up to temperatures that are in the single digits. And then through the day, that's when we start to warm up to about 20 degrees. We have another storm system coming through. So Tuesday night into Wednesday, we have the chance of seeing some snow, especially near and north of I-80. And then scattered snow showers are going to remain possible on Wednesday. But high temperatures by Wednesday, looking a little bit warmer, near 30 degrees, back down to 20 on Thursday. Friday and Saturday, we're in the single digits. And then on Sunday, we're going to be in the double digits, just barely, right around 12 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Sunshine is set to return going into early next week, but temperatures, they're staying below average, only upper 20s, or I should say low 20s by Monday afternoon. Back to you.
There are a lot of weird world records, and one in Great Britain has been added to the list.
Yes, he created the world's fastest trash bin.
Yeah, the dumpster on wheels can reach, believe it or not, 66 miles per hour. That is fast. He built this souped-up garbage can using a motorbike engine and go-kart wheels. There he goes. He named it the Dukes of Hazardous Waste after the 80s TV show The Dukes of Hazzard, of course. He now holds the record in the Guinness Book of World Records. Who knew this was a thing? What they do, huh? Okay, the people in the crowd at the Atlanta Hawks game yesterday got quite a laugh.
Fan got to go on the court to show off his hoop skills, but gravity was not so kind.
Let's see, the fan was invited to dunk a ball. Keep watching.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, no.
Oh!
But as you can see, even with the help of a trampoline, Tim came up with it a little short.
He ran too, like he was standing on business.
Right on his face, like he was really going to do something.
Look at the
He had the arms going too, like he was really about to do something.
Look at that.
That's a nice pose, though.
Okay, it's kind of
Poor
embarrassing,
guy.
right?
That's so embarrassing. I'm happy we don't know his name. And I hope they didn't put his name out there.
Oh,
look, he got the fans all hyped up.
Wow.
That's funny.
What a letdown. Well, this next story is for the fellas.
New research finds men on dating apps need to lower their expectations.
A new study in the PLOS1 journal, okay, because I needed to know that, finds men tend to aim higher when swiping on dating apps and often go for women they see as more desirable than themselves. Meanwhile, women were more likely to swipe on men who were closer to their own attractiveness level, and those pairings ended up with more matches. The research suggests when men set their expectations a little too high, it can lead to more rejection and frustration on the apps.
Why you read it like that?
He does not like the story.
I don't like this. I told you, I'm over binary stories like that. Like, you just left out a whole percentage of people. Whatever. That does it for us at 4, because I could go on.
Okay, much more to come on the news at 5. Are you coming back?
You see, first of all, the thing is...
We'll be right back.